Welcome back to the Dethroning Your Inner Critic YouTube channel, where you can learn how to stop the self-sabotaging voice in your head from getting in your way of living your most empowered and abundant life. So today I want to give you the 4 steps that can stop you from getting lost in your painful emotions. So you experience painful emotions when there's some part of your life that doesn't look the way that you want it to. So maybe you're afraid of how your future is going to unfold. Maybe you're wondering, will I ever reach the level of success that I want in my business? Maybe you're wondering, will I ever have the confidence that I really want? Or will I ever be able to have the courage to pursue my dreams or pursue the relationship that I really want or the level of health that I really want? So whatever your dream is, you might be thinking that you need to figure out exactly what steps to take so that you can make sure that you get what you want. And that is exactly what triggers you into fear, overwhelm, doubt, frustration, and waking up every day with that feeling of inner chaos. So when you are experiencing the painful emotions of fear, doubt, maybe anger, insecurity, uncertainty, here is what's really going on. See, our brain is actually hardwired for comfort, for safety, and for security. So we want to control what other people think about us. We want to control how we treat other people, how they treat us. We want to make sure that we always succeed in our goals and we don't fail and we don't get rejected and we don't feel like we aren't good enough. So in other words, we're expecting that life should go exactly the way that we want it to go. But that's not real life. So when you don't know how some part of your life is going to unfold, or you can't control how you're perceived or how you're treated, or you don't reach a goal, or you aren't at the level of success that you want to be at, you might want to figure out a solution to make sure that your life matches your ideal picture of the way you think it should. Because you believe that if your life matches your picture, that's when you're going to feel calm and peaceful and fulfilled and happy. But the truth is that when you look for your expectations to be fulfilled before you can feel good, before you can feel at peace, before you can feel fulfilled in your life, you're setting yourself up to feel like no matter what you've accomplished, no matter what you have in your life, no matter what there is to be grateful for right now, it is not yet good enough. And that's a really hard way to live your life because you're always feeling in some way unfulfilled and maybe even downright unhappy. So to not get lost in these painful emotions of fear and doubt and lack of fulfillment and anger and unhappiness, the first thing you need to understand is that you have an automatic mind that actually thinks for you. You don't tell your mind what to think. It just spews out all of these thoughts, and you believed that voice inside your head is really you. So the first step to not getting lost in your emotions is to understand that you're actually separate from this voice. You can't change your automatic thoughts. You can't stop your mind from thinking them, but you can step back and notice what the voice is saying. So for example, when I first started observing my automatic mind years ago, it would say things like, when am I going to have the business success that I want? Or when am I going to have my book published? Or When are my kids going to think and act the way that I want them to? When is life going to be what I think it should be? That's the voice of my inner critic. That's the voice of your automatic mind. And back then I was completely lost in my inner critic's beliefs, which meant that I was completely lost in my painful emotions. So my inner critic believed that I needed to get the results first, and then that's when I would be happy. So step number 2 is to understand that your inner critic wants what it wants, maybe more money, more clients in your business, a relationship, getting healthier, because in some way you believe that you need those conditions to be met before you can feel good. Now, these are all great things to strive for. But if you can't feel fulfilled and full of joy and happiness until you get those things, you are living a conditional life. And I have some bad news for you. Even if you reach all those goals, your inner critic will always find the next thing that you need to make you feel good, and will convince you that you need to get your life to match your inner critic's picture before you can feel fulfilled. And that is where all of your suffering is stemming from. So the third step to not get lost in your emotions is that you have to understand when you are experiencing an uncomfortable emotion, that's your inner critic convincing you that in some way, something isn't the way you need it to be. Something isn't good enough, right? Either someone isn't treating you the way that they need to, or you're not good enough, or some part of your life isn't good enough. So when you're swallowed by your inner critic, you're at the effect of your circumstances. So many people get easily lost in their emotions because they keep reaching for the next circumstance to be different so that they can feel fulfilled. This is why so many people don't ever feel at peace and fulfilled. Because in case you haven't noticed by now, life is never going to match your ideal perfect picture. Your automatic inner critic mind will always find the next thing. It will always find the next thing to fix or change or perfect. So, of course, you want to keep reaching for your personal and professional goals. You might want to make some changes in your life. But if you keep listening to your automatic mind and believing what it's saying, you're never going to feel fulfilled, because your painful thoughts aren't really about your circumstances. Your painful thoughts are about your automatic thoughts about your circumstance. So if you want change to happen, you have to be willing to examine your thoughts, your beliefs, your blind spots that stem from your inner critic mind. Because this is what keeps you stuck in the same patterns and actually blocks you from getting what you really want in your life. So the fourth step to not getting lost in your emotions is that you have to be willing to do your inner work. You have to be willing to step back and get curious and examine your automatic thoughts, your automatic emotions, and your automatic behaviors that keep creating the same results and the same patterns in your life. If you aren't willing to actually lean in and face your uncomfortable emotions, you aren't going to grow. And you won't know what you need to heal in order to transform your life. There will never come a time in our lives where we won't experience uncomfortable emotions. So when you know how to unhook yourself from your automatic inner critic mind and actually rewire entirely different thoughts and beliefs, you understand how to tune into very different emotions just by tuning into different thoughts. So emotions like contentment and gratitude and peace and joy. So how you rewire a different mind over time is by consciously choosing new thoughts and new beliefs. So when you're using a rewired mind to create your goals and your dreams, now you're designing a very different life. That's a life where you get to feel happiness and joy and freedom and abundance even before you've reached that desired goal. It's a life where you wake up every day feeling inspired and empowered and excited about what's to come, instead of longing for something to be different before you can feel good. And when you feel good, you're taking actions towards your goal from inspired and empowered energy instead of the energy that's consistent with feeling like your life is lacking something. Now, make no mistake, when we are reaching for better lives, we will experience mistakes, failure, rejection, judgment, criticism. But when you know how to master your mind, you won't get lost in painful emotions when you're faced with these obstacles and setbacks and the unexpected twists and turns that life is going to throw at you. See, your inner critic reacts in very predictable and problematic ways when you're facing uncertainty and you can't predict exactly what lies ahead. But what would your life look like if you could separate yourself from your inner critic? What would your life look like if you knew how to no longer get swallowed up by your uncomfortable emotions that your inner critic whips up every day? So here are the signs again. Number one, understand that you're actually separate from the voice of your inner critic. Number two, understand that your inner critic wants what it wants because it believes that you need those conditions to be met before you can feel good. Number three, understand that your inner critic is always convincing you in some way, either you're not enough, someone else isn't enough, or some part of your life isn't enough. And number four, you have to be willing to examine your automatic thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and behaviors every day that keep creating the same results and the same patterns in your life. So please comment below and let me know how practicing these 4 steps can change your life. And for more inspiring videos every week, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.